Whilst many of us know that we have to change the way we treat our planet, there is one group which is taking things to the next level.
In October 2018, a group of activists, angered by political inaction on climate change, declared themselves to be in open defiance of the UK government. They called themselves Extinction Rebellion, or XR for short.
Are you doing the right thing by arresting anything at the moment? You've been placed up to date.
They work outside the system, engaging in bold, non-violent acts of civil disobedience. Their strategy is to create headline-grabbing protests designed to maximise public exposure. They believe this will gain them a mass following and force real change. In just 6 months, they have already expanded into 15 countries spread across 4 continents. I'm at their London headquarters on the day of one of their most extreme actions yet. In a protest they are calling Blood of Our Children, XR plan to spill 500 litres of fake blood on Downing Street, the office and residence of the British Prime Minister.
Hi Claire. Hello. I'm Megan. It's really nice to meet you.
One of XR's co-founders is Claire Farrell.
Where did the idea of the blood of our children come from?
We're already suffering a genocide because of the impacts of pollution. So we're trying with this action to get people to understand that it kills people, and that it kills people now. It's already killing people. It's not like something ahead in the future.
As we make our way to Downing Street, I want to know why they're compelled to confront the political establishment in such a drastic way.
We think it's important that our actions are directed at government, because there's only, I think, a state-led effort internationally that's going to make a meaningful change to the situation that we're in. So we're trying to represent the kind of visceral reality of death and suffering which climate change has already started to cause around the world and which it will cause in the future.
The procession is designed to feel like a funeral march. It comes to a stop and the crowd falls silent.
This is the blood of my children, of your children, and of the young people here today.
XR are making a profound statement, just a stone's throw from the Prime Minister's office.
We need to take action. We don't have much time left. Please don't let this be the reality.
I'm struck by the raw emotion on display. But what is the political change that Extinction Rebellion want to see?
What do you want to achieve by all of this?
We do have 3 main demands. The first one is for the government to tell the truth, to help to communicate the crisis to the public. The second demand is to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2025. And then the third demand, which I think is the main prize, is to achieve structural political change in the form of a citizens' assembly. Ordinary people who are educated on the facts and then come together to talk about what might be the best route forward.
Do you think it's achievable?
I think it's necessary.
XR want to become impossible to ignore, so its members are planning the biggest protest yet. They hope to bring London to a standstill with a 2-week human blockade of the city's streets. At XR's HQ, I'm meeting one of the chief coordinators of the shutdown, Larch Maxey.
What we're doing with the rebellion is having a go at causing the level of disruption that could bring about, the government to meet our demands.
Do you think that you're at risk of almost alienating yourself by crossing over into that illegal category?
Look, there's a climate crisis, there's an ecological crisis. We're here to stop this existential threat that we face. We're non-violent, we're maintaining respect, we're putting ourselves on the line, so we're risking our own liberty.
The plan is to block the streets of the UK's capital with walls of people. They'll chain, lock, and even glue themselves to structures and to one another. These actions are deliberately planned to create maximum disruption and cause arrests. Jess Lichtenstein trains members on how to deal with the police in a non-violent way.
Can we have a activist who is willing to be arrested and carried off to a police van in the middle? Can. You're willing to get arrested, but you're not going to make it easy for them.
Members are trained to go limp as soon as they are touched.
All right, well, it's pretty clear. We're gonna arrest you now.
So it would take as many as 5 police officers to remove a single activist. By maximising the number of arrests, XR believe they can create publicity and a groundswell of support.
For Extinction Rebellion, this is the only way forward. This is the only way they believe that things are going to improve, is through civil disobedience and these kinds of actions.
15th of April 2019, and it's the morning of the London shutdown. The organisers are expecting thousands of protesters. They plan to block London's main streets and bridges for 2 weeks, bringing the city to a grinding halt. I'm meeting Claire as she prepares for what could be the biggest demonstration in XR's history.
Come in. Thank you. Are you feeling hopeful?
I'm feeling hopeful that we're going to have more impact than we ever have, and more people are going to understand the message and the seriousness of it. The reason why we have to do this is because it is this bad. We do feel this afraid of our future. We don't know what else to do. Let's go.
Extinction Rebellion's target is the government, but the people who will be hit hardest today are the everyday commuters as they try to get to work.
There's potential then that all of this could be disrupted and people might not be able to get to where they're going because of the actions that are taking place. And how is that justified?
We're really sorry. We don't really want to do this, but we also don't want to pass on an unlivable planet to the next generation.
We arrive at Oxford Circus at 8:30 a.m. and only a handful of activists are here. We quickly get a taste of where public favour might lie. I'm not quite sure how the group will succeed in blocking the very heart of London.
What's the plan here? Because at the moment, the road isn't occupied. There's nothing on it, so what's going to happen?
Groups of people are going to close roads, and then something should be arriving.
Out of the blue, reinforcements arrive. With something I didn't expect.
So this is a proper boat. You've literally brought a proper boat into the middle of Oxford Street.
Hundreds of activists crowd around the boat, and the London shutdown has begun. In a matter of hours, 10,000 supporters descend upon 5 sites across the capital: Oxford Circus, Parliament Square, Marble Arch, Piccadilly Circus, and Waterloo Bridge, manned by Larch and his team. They have blocked the entire stretch of road with trees, a music stage, camps, and a human wall at both ends. I've managed to find Larch, who has started to notice police activity.
So I'm just watching them go by, yeah.
What's been happening?
Oh, we're just kind of monitoring the police. There's numbers have increased slightly. At some point, they're going to be under pressure to clear the bridge. I mean, what we've got to try and do is get numbers to build. The question is, how much disruption will the government force us to create until they do the right thing and meet the demands and start to try and keep us safe?
And you're willing to lose your liberty for it and get arrested?
If people are willing to sacrifice their liberty, it sends a message to the public, to the media and to the politicians that this is a serious issue.
Elsewhere, demonstrations are escalating as protesters target the largest oil and gas company in Europe, Shell.
Just ran down to a site where some rebels have superglued themselves and locked themselves up outside Shell HQ.
We're here today to take action and defend life.
I meet Lyndon Edwardson, one of the lead demonstrators here.
Tell me a little bit about why you're here.
Shell have known about the problem of climate change for over 30 years, and they are one of the biggest emitters of carbon in the world.
These acts of criminal damage are the catalyst for the police to make their first arrests.
We need to hold Shell accountable for the atrocities to humankind and to our natural world.
We've just seen 2 Extinction Rebellion rebels being taken away by police, and ultimately Extinction Rebellion are getting exactly what they're after.
8 hours after the shutdown began, police take action, citing Section 14 of the Public Order Act, which forbids obstruction of the highway. More than 1,000 arrests and 30,000 new recruits later, and with growing support across 33 countries, the UK government finally agrees to meet XR. On the 1st of May 2019, the House of Commons makes history, becoming the first national parliament in the world to declare a climate and ecological emergency.